Hey guys, it's Mark from Modern Tech, and today we are starting a new series on this channel for retrospective reviews. And today's game we're going to review is Naruto Rise of the Ninja, which came out in 2007. But just before we get into this review, if you are new to this channel, go check out some of my other reviews. I do reviews on many games, usually older games, after all updates have been patched up and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, go check out my channel and hopefully you subscribe. With this game, Naruto Rise of a Ninja, this is actually my first time playing this game. I did play the sequel game, which is Naruto the Broken Bond, and funnily enough, that was actually my first introduction to Naruto. I didn't know a single thing about Naruto until playing that game, and then after that I watched the show, and of course it changed my life forever. By that I mean clearly I like Naruto. With most Xbox 360 games working absolutely flawless on the Steam Deck, I had no reason to not play this game. Rise of a Ninja story mode starts from the very beginning of the series and it ends at the end of the Chunin exams where Gaara releases the Sand Demon Shikaku and goes on a rampage. Now if you haven't watched or read Naruto, you probably at a bit of a loss, so I'm not going to be explaining this. This is going to be based on the game. I'm not going to explain the whole of Naruto because that is one rabbit hole I am not going down. What I love about Rise of the Ninja is it hits pretty much every main point in the series that involves Naruto as a character, which is absolutely great, but unfortunately Naruto is the only character that the story allows you to play as. This means that battles where other characters fight or the story is more driven towards often feel like it's a little jump ahead in the story, especially if you skip some of the dialogue, but for the most part the game keeps you pretty informed by having scenes from the anime to play as a cutscene. Personally, I really like the fact that they play scenes from the anime. Some might see it as quite lazy, but in comparison to the new titles like in the Storm series where they have heavily animated cutscenes, yeah, they're pretty cool, but they take place very occasionally, and about 80% of the game it's just like a old RPG style dialogue box without even voice actors. Which brings me to another great point about this game, is that Rise of a Ninja is voice acted all the way through. I'm not too sure if Ubisoft actually had the voice actors in the booth or they just used bits from the anime, but there was audio there and it was voice audio and it went through the whole game for every character's dialogue, which is great for both English and Japanese, and I am all for that. With all Naruto games, of course the biggest point of interest is the combat, but honestly with Rise of the Ninja, I'm gonna say it's about 50-50 for me. If anything, I might actually slightly prefer the more free roam elements. Excluding the game's sequel, The Broken Bond, Rise of a Ninja to me has to have the best free roam that Naruto has to offer. And not only am I saying that because it sits strong on top of a pile of really bad free roams, but it's actually quite good. It stands strong at the top. This game allows you to fully explore the Hidden Leaf Village that we know and love from the anime, and even go to places that Naruto travels to in the story. Granted, some areas such as the bridge where Naruto fights Zabuza are a little bare, but the fact that that is still in this game is really cool, and it does have some pretty decent platforming. There are plenty of side missions and little mini-game quests to do, such as training with characters or delivering ramen for Ichiraku, that are quite fun, that help upgrade your stats like your health bar and your chakra, and while the character is still gaining money to purchase items. Having reasonable rewards for the side missions really does help, and if anything, it actually makes you want to do them missions, because the main story missions can actually become quite difficult without leveling up. The main story of Naruto is of course how nobody in the village likes him because of the demon fox that is sealed within his body, and Naruto has this extremely strong need for approval. This game actually does a really good job of capturing how the villagers feel about Naruto. As you're walking around, each villager has an angry looking face above their head and they just hurl abuse at you for no reason whatsoever. But as the game progresses and you do more good for these people, they actually start to like you, and then the little frowny face turns into a nice happy face, and they even kind of like help you out if you're in some missions like playing hide and seek or whatever. They'll might point you in the direction of where the person is, or they might point you in the direction of a item to collect. Some of the free roaming side quests are actually locked by jutsu that you haven't unlocked yet until you get to a higher level or you progress further on in the story. I think this is quite a nice touch because it's things like running up walls, where Naruto doesn't learn that until around about his fight with Zabuza, so that's quite good. You can't do that at the start of the game. And some of them are just purely comical, like you might see a villager with a sad frowny face on him, and if you do sexy jutsu on him, you can cheer him right up. There are a lot of positives about the free roaming, but it keeps getting to a point where some of the mini games just get incredibly repetitive, and I felt I had to play hide and seek with Konohamaru at least 50 more times than I felt like I needed to. Now let's talk about the combat. The combat is actually a pretty solid fighting game. What I like most about the combat is it wasn't like over the top flashy and easy to pull out combos for visual effects, but it's more of one of those fighting games where you have to master the character's skills, and each character skill you master won't transfer over to the next character because they have completely different combos. When I just mentioned about other characters, yeah, the game does have a dual mode where you get to choose a good handful of characters, about 10ish I believe, which is cool, but because in the story mode you only play as Naruto, it made it quite awkward to win any battles as any other characters unless you actually put in some time to learn the moves, which unfortunately this game isn't really relevant anymore, and unless you really like fighting against the CPU, I won't be playing it much in 2024 for the dual mode. The story mode combat, however, is where all the side missions that you have done really benefit by making your attacks so much stronger and learning new combos. At first, the combat honestly feels a little bit dry as it takes a while to get used to, but when you unlock more combos and you get better at the game and you get a good few fights in, it really makes you plan your next move better. My sneaky little go-to combos, when you hold down and Y, it allows Naruto to make a shadow clone that goes under the ground and then jumps up with a punch like Naruto does to Neji in the tuning exams, and then I follow up with a jump kick in the air and start a little aerial combo. Each time you hit or get hit, a number appears above the head showing how much damage is dealt, which is nice to see because some opponents, mainly the adult characters such as Orochimaru, deal a lot more damage than the kid characters, which is great to see because in the program, if Kid Naruto was going up against someone like Orochimaru, he would get absolutely destroyed, and that way it makes you plan out better how you are going to fight different characters. Using the character's jutsu in a battle is the same way as it's done in free roam, by holding the trigger and then making the hand gestures with the analog stick, so it might be like 2 analogs up and 2 analogs right to do a shadow clone jutsu, just for example. And if an enemy is close to you, you've got pretty much no chance of landing one of them. The best tactic to actually hit someone with a jutsu is to use the Y attacks where you kick him far away, and as soon as you get some distance, then you've got a little short window to use a jutsu, and hopefully you can get one off. All of the jutsus have a decent blocking opportunity, which is quite good, so it might be as simple as when you use the shadow clone jutsu, you input a series of buttons and you got to press it faster than the other person, or it might be whereas Kiba uses Fang attack, it's got like 2 little targets that go above the character and you've got like, you can dodge out the way. If it locks onto you, you're buggered, but you've actually got a chance to use some of your dodging skills. After every major story battle, you unlock something called a memo clip of that character, or you can get it from side missions as well, which is kind of like a little picture of their face, and it's got like a 6 seconds or 4 seconds or whatever. What this is if you get defeated in battle, you can keep mashing the A button for a duration of 4 seconds or 6 seconds, however much it says, and then that's how much your health recovers, so you can actually come back and fight. You can equip about 5 of these at a time, but unfortunately you can't unequip them. So if you're going in free roam areas and you're just battling little random ninjas, you don't want to waste them all because they are quite costly to replenish, and that's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a downside of this. They are great for the heat of the moment main story battles where you are struggling, but when you run out during that battle and then you go to fight that battle again, you don't have them, which is kind of annoying. As a conclusion, honestly, I really enjoyed running through this game for the first time ever in 2024. Rise of a Ninja took me way back to the good old days where developers would make games over every movie and every TV show. Back then, all we did is complain about it, but looking back now, I really miss those type of games. Now, this being my first ever retrospective review, I'm going to give this a review score based on my personal feelings on how I enjoyed this game on my personal enjoyment scale, and I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Graphically, this game is decent for its time and the scenery is so beautiful, especially running around the Leaf Village with the classic good old feel good Naruto theme tune playing is just so magical. The combat is good, it's simple and it's good. It's not the best combat I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the worst combat I've ever seen in a game like this. if they were to remake this game, I would instantly buy it in a heartbeat. I would love to see some other anime games be outsourced to other companies other than Bandai Namco and just given to some other publishers. I know people have issues with Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed franchise, etc. But personally, I really think they did a good job on this Naruto game, and I'd love to see Naruto do something similar to like of the Kakarot games, which I did a review on Kakarot, by the way. I'll leave that in the description below if anyone is interested. And I'm going to leave this video there. If you made it to the end, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to help me out. It's all very much appreciated. It's Mark from Modern Tech. Thanks for watching.